So you'll notice we're a little late today. That's actually planned. Well, we were supposed to go live at 8:30, but we had a little bit more of a delay. We are celebrating tonight something very special. It goes along with our topic. And so we had some extra helium. We have a couple extra surprises for you tonight. But why are we running late? What is going on? Tell me.
Well, we're... Okay, so first of all, I never believe that it's actually going to make my voice different, but then it does. So we're a little late because, as you guys know, I'm the co-founder of Kome, which is an app that allows you to exchange free babysitting with your trusted village of friends. And so tonight...
I don't know if I trust my village anymore.
Tonight, we had a party celebrating...
We celebrated!
Yeah. We celebrated. Kome has actually been acquired by a...
Your voice is still different.
I know.
So
I'm like,
weird.
I'm going to keep going. It's not going away because I restocked it. Oh, it's going away now. Okay. Kome's been acquired by a company called Wana out in LA with the founder, Aaron.
And that's who's joining us today. Oh, this is fun. This is too fun.
So yeah. I know, right? I told you. Aaron, take a breath.
So,
and then introduce yourself. Tell us about your family.
Oh man.
Hi.
That was
my
interesting.
gosh. See? I've never done this before.
It's a surprise every time.
It's a surprise every time. So we're a little late if you couldn't understand her. Kome, which is an app and a project that Amy's been working on for 4 years, she's a co-founder of, is being acquired by Aaron. So they're going to work as a team to make this still continue. She's having a really great time making her voice change right now, but hopefully...
I really am.
Oh my gosh!
Wow, this is so cool, guys.
So,
yeah.
Do you have children? Do you have a husband?
So I have one baby girl. She sounds kind of like this.
Aw.
Probably true.
She's 3 years old, and I got into the babysitting swapping because of her. And then I live with my husband and daughter.
And where do you live?
In a 1-bedroom apartment in Los Angeles.
Woo!
So while we're drowning in the rain, they're laying out and tanning.
But she's living in my house this week, which, even though we essentially pay the same for her 1-bedroom apartment in my house in
This
Akron,
is true story.
she thinks I live in a palace.
It is a literal palace. And we established that she actually pays less in mortgage than
This
I
is true.
pay in rent.
This is true.
Wow.
Yeah, isn't that something?
It is sad.
So when you go to LA, we're going to stay with you because I can't imagine with
No,
the
we'll have to
hotels
stay in her closet if we stay.
I'll stay in
Literally,
your closet.
She has a futon in her closet that you can stay in.
I'll
It's
stay
true.
there.
It's a
I have
thing.
no shame.
Yeah.
We
that's a real
actually
thing.
went to Chicago probably about 6 or 7 months ago, and one kid slept in the bathtub. By choice, by the way, by choice. Speaking of Kome app.
That's just being creative.
Yeah, one kid slept in the bathtub because
Resourceful.
he wakes up with any amount of noise. So everybody peed, and then he went to bed. I don't get the problem.
Did you just take the last of it?
We have something else exciting while they're figuring that out. So something else exciting happened in my life 2 days ago. We have puppies.
Look at how little you guys.
So I have 2 beautiful Dalmatians, Topanga and Pongo. They are championship AKC.
They're not named after the show. It's just a coincidence.
No, yeah. So, so they are championship line Dalmatians AKC, and Topanga, I had to talk with her. I told her she could have 6 puppies. Well, we had 12. Surprise! So I, by trade, am a surgical vet tech. So this is what I do. This is Laverne. So she is my biggest girl, and this is Fonzie. So we have fun names. We have Fonzie Gomer, Mo Curly Larry, Laverne Shirley, Lucy and Ethel,
Good job.
Archie Bunker, Dolly Parton, and Elvis. That's all their names. So if you're in the market for Dalmatian puppies, they look like white rats right now. Oh, she's
They're
mad.
literally 2 days old.
They're literally 2 days old. They look like white rats right now, but they, so if you know, Dalmatians get their spots at about 3.5 weeks, and they open their eyes at about 2.5 weeks.
You're okay, sweetie.
So she's my loud one. She's Laverne. She's a little vocal. She takes after her grandmother. And then
Should I give her healing? I'm just kidding. I
No,
wouldn't do that.
don't give her healing.
I'm just kidding.
And this is Fonzie, and he's cute and he's cool, right? Because you're the Fonz.
Yeah.
So that's what I am dealing with. So that's my exciting news. No business transaction or anything.
But it's going to be a business
But it's
transaction.
gonna be. So if you're in the market for a Dalmatian,
when people buy these 12 puppies,
or if you're just in the market to follow all the cute baby pictures, message us and I'll give you the link. They have their own Facebook page where like all of their newborn pictures are. So awesome. I'm gonna hand them off so they can go be with mom. They can't be away from mom for too long. So I'm going to hand them off. But that's my exciting news. So let's get into your exciting news and all that's going on.
Yeah. So the long story short is that now Kome gets to live on, and over time...
just in case our viewers do not know exactly what Kome is, can we tell a little bit about what Kome is?
Yeah.
Backstory.
So I started Kome 4 years ago with my co-founder, Audrey Wallace. We were doing a traditional babysitting co-op already between us and friends, and we were like, hey, how can we take this traditional co-op and give it to more families across the country and around the world? And so we put our heads together and we went through all these really boring, terrible ideas. And then we're like, well, what if we made an app? And then we did. And so it's just really cool. And we spent 4 years building that. And unfortunately, we got to a point the last 6 months, while we did a lot of great things, we raised over $600,000 in funding. Mm-hmm. We built out a team and a product. We just we weren't able to get it to the next level, to get it to that next step.
And they worked hard, but, something we've also talked about is just like this area and everything and just developing.
It's hard. Like Northeast Ohio is great for startups, but they're just not typically the startup of like an app that's growing a user base that will monetize itself 5 years from now or 10 years from now instead of, where's the revenue today? So it was kind of an uphill battle, and we fought it really long and hard, and it was awesome. And we'll talk later in this conversation about the parts that weren't awesome. And ultimately, we put out a letter to our customers in the middle of April.
Yeah.
And we said, hey, unfortunately, we decided after a long time that we're letting the app go, we're setting it down, and you'll have it till May 30th. Then we got an email from Miss Erin.
You received a lot of emails. And
we received a lot of emails. Yeah. A lot of emails about people who wanted to take it over and continue to fight the good fight. Erin happened to be one of our competitors that was like, hey, what if we work together on this instead of working in competition with each other? Which, not to be sexist or anything, but I think is a little more common in female entrepreneurs.
Yeah, for sure.
Than male entrepreneurs, no offense. Maybe a little. And so we said, okay, well, let's have a conversation. And so we had a conversation and ultimately decided that we were going to trust our baby with Erin. And she's now taking our baby and going to make it better and bigger and extend the network and add, more.
Just more.
More.
And it is more, right? Because you guys are staying on. You and Audrey are going to keep on working on it as advisors to me, which, let's be clear about how I found Kome when I was a brand new mom. And
let's be clear.
Desperately needed support. I found Kome through their outstanding SEO, which is that's real. But I found this potential for a community. And when I found Kome, it was super, 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 super early. I think you guys had just put out
the pilot team
first mobile product. And it sort of worked.
It sort of worked. It's true.
I don't think people understand, even as I got to walk. I met you guys the first year, so I got to kind of walk. I got to be part of the mom squad and stuff like that. I, even as a good friend and in some of the videos and some of the marketing stuff, didn't realize how much work goes in it. So there were things that would not work. Mm-hmm. There were glitches that would happen, and it wasn't that these two weren't working their butts off to get it. It's hard. It's hard.
And it's every single game you have to work so hard for.
Yeah.
And you're trying to do with 2 people, 3 people, what whole companies would be doing. And that is an outrageous expectation. And I was so impressed. I went, oh, this is obviously the solution that I've been looking for. But I was also looking for a solution to another thing at the the same time, which was the reason that I was looking for childcare, was because I wanted to start my own company. And this is the cool thing that Amy and Audrey really pioneered. They were the first ones to say, this should be a socially connected app. It should be modern and everyone should use it. Like, babysitting co-ops have been around since, like,
forever.
Babies.
Yeah.
Since babies. And they were huge
This is
in
true.
the 80s.
Yeah.
And then they just kind of dwindled because there wasn't the technology to support it. And I was like, this is huge. And it wasn't just me. There were all these other companies who were like, this is huge. And now you can find things like this all over the place. But nobody has.
No one's nailed it yet.
No one's nailed it. And so the cool thing is that all these people are trying all these different things. And that's what I thought I could do. I thought, if I just make this little tweak, maybe it'll work this way. And someone else, if I make this tweak, it'll work this way. That's awesome. That is a healthy entrepreneurial ecosystem. And I have watched every move that Kome made, except when their social media videos got so good that every time I watched it, I got depressed and thought I should quit because there was no way that I would.
They were pretty funny.
Thanks, candidates.
I know.
Yeah, Hannah, you are awesome.
I watched them all last night on Amy's couch, and I was like, "Look what I've."
Well, because now you own them.
Well, I mean,
now you can use them on your social media channels.
Yeah,
but I have been learning from you guys the whole time, and when I got. And it's going to make me do it again. When I got your email, I was sitting at the kitchen table with my family, and we were like preparing dinner. And I remember everything just suddenly going silent around me. And it wasn't because everyone stopped talking, but I was so shocked and I was so sad, because what we all want is for everyone to succeed. Like, one rising boat brings the whole tide up. And what we're like, because we're impact driven people, because we're mission driven people, what we want is for this to work. Like, I don't care who does it, just make it work.
Yeah, because it's needed so much. And
I'll never forget May 30th, 2015 was the day that Audrey and I shared with our traditional co-op that we were building an app. And it was funny because when we announced it to them in my living room, they were all getting out their phones trying to download it. And we're like, you guys.
It doesn't come that easy.
For the record, it took us another 18 months.
Yeah.
But Audrey and I, both faith-based people, we went up to what was then my office, is now my kids' bunk room. And we got down on our knees and we prayed. And we said, we don't care who finds us and makes it. We don't care who makes this thing, but it needs to exist. And we just agreed and prayed that it come to exist, and that if we were to lead it, let us lead it. And if we weren't supposed to lead it, bring someone else along.
Yeah. So that's really exciting. So,
yeah,
it's exciting.
It's really cool.
So, kind of where we are with this conversation. Like, I wanted to share the backstory of Kome. I got to walk in the steps. I got to do some of the videos and stuff, but I was a user. I was a parent that loved it and enjoyed it. And, being very good friends with both you and Audrey, I got to see the ups, the downs, the videos, the triumphs, the celebrations, the all of those things. But then, like, my kids made friends. I made friends. The people that I met, the village was developed, and that is so very important. And so,
well, I remember when we had known each other 6 months, and someone asked us how we knew each other. You're like, "Oh, we've known each other for like 2 years," and we're like, "No,
it's not."
No,
so
we
Danielle over exaggerates everything.
We just met.
Actually, funny story. You guys showed up at. I was a 31 vendor at an event, and Audrey was there, and she's telling me about this Kome thing, and I'm like, my family lives near me. I don't need this Kome thing. Then I go to the gym, which I don't go often, so I feel like when God sends me people to the gym, I need to listen, because I don't go there often. So I'm at the gym, and this
and when I go to the gym, you should listen, because I don't go.
Exactly. So I was like,
often.
okay. So I go to the gym, and who is standing at my gym? Audrey and Amy pass out this Kome stuff, and I'm like, okay, Jesus, I get it. Like, I need this. So, but just watching how much you poured into it, and where your hearts were, and that you prayed that it's needed, and it's definitely needed. Not just I am very, very blessed that my family all lives very local on the same street. So when I get a babysitter, they get angry at me. But what I've gained as a user of Kome is the friends, the village, the encouraging, the mom group, the connection, all of those things I've personally gained. And I didn't even need a sitter. And so when you're praying about God just developing this and leading this, I love that it's going to still go on. And maybe you guys won't be the ones carrying it directly.
I'm happy to give her the weight on my shoulders. You can have it.
There you go. So I'm excited for this. I think it's going to be great. And kind of why we are bringing this, why are we doing a podcast on this? Why are we here today? It's kind of, talking about just women and entrepreneur and how sometimes, things may not go the way we want them to go, but that they can still continue. And what that's
there
not...
is a fly dying in my wine glass.
Producer.
Hands.
That's why we have friends, because Aaron saw that and I didn't see that.
I would have just kept drinking.
I was like, why is your wine bubbling?
Why is your wine flying? Flickering?
He'll
Don't
take
dig
it
it out.
out.
Just get a new glass. No.
And you don't need to dump it. You just get it out.
Just put it
I'll
outside.
still drink it.
You guys keep going.
Oh, see, I'm different. I would dump that whole glass. There's no way I'd be drinking that if
The
a fly was in
Californian
there.
wants to save the fly.
Oh my gosh, you're
That's not a
saving the fly?
That's not a stereotype at all.
You know, stereotypes are usually earned.
So you are pretentious?
But nice about it.
Just
What was it? But pretentious on the outside, but accommodating on the inside.
Yeah, so, okay, little
Except if
side
you
note.
ask for.
I would have dumped that
Yeah.
whole glass in the drain and poured another one. There's
So,
no
little
way.
side note, I was in LA a couple
Alcohol abuse is acceptable when there's bugs in it.
Yeah.
Just saying. You
I
don't know
was
what that fly did in that wine glass.
I'm fine.
Just saying.
I was in LA a couple of weeks ago, and we were in a coffee shop, and I got this idea that this coffee shop was a little pretentious, and I don't know about you guys. You should put it in the comments. Like, do you drink creamer, or do you drink coffee, or do you drink both? Or is it hard
Creamer
to tell?
with a tad of coffee.
Yeah.
And do you like dirty chai?
Do you like dirty chai?
What is dirty
That's
chai?
a good point, too. Okay, so we're in this line for this coffee shop, and I'm like,
I did not go to LA, guys.
I was like, hey,
We'll bring her.
I was
I
like, hey,
stayed home this
Erin.
trip.
I was like, hey, Erin, like, do you think that they have sweetener for coffee? Because I like sweet coffee. And she's like, well, I don't know. California is pretentious, but we're accommodating too. I'm like, okay. So I go up there and I was like, do you have any sweetener? And he's like, I mean, like, we have sugar or something over there. And I was like, do you have honey? No.
For your coffee? You put honey in your coffee?
Well, that's usually what you can get at pretentious places. They'll let you have honey or agave.
They'll let you. I love
So, but here's
If
the
you
thing.
don't have creamer, I am not buying your
Wait.
coffee.
He said, no, we don't have honey, which was a lie because they had food items with honey in them. He just didn't want me to have the honey. So, luckily, I carry a bag of Equal in my purse for times such as this. So I was fine, but when I went over to see the sugar, quote unquote, that he offered to me, it was liquid, and I was confused, so I just kept moving.
Is
because
that like a
it wasn't
Southern thing?
clear either.
it wasn't
was
clear. Like, if he had said there's agave over there, there's
Yeah.
honey over there, that'd be cool. But he just said there's sugar over there, and I'm like, that's not sugar. So I went on. So then Audrey asked for a dirty chai, and they said we don't make dirty chais. And we were quite confused because a dirty chai, they make chai, and they make espresso. And a dirty chai is when you put the espresso in the chai. And they
This
said
is
we don't-
all too fancy for me. I got a Keurig, and whatever it
Yeah.
comes out, I drink.
So he said they don't make that, and we're like, that's really weird, but okay. So we go to our table, and when they bring out our food, we're like, hey, like, so do you have espresso, and do you have chai? And they're like, yeah. And we're like, but you can't make a dirty chai? They said the chef won't let us.
I ain't going to
Pretentious.
LA.
And I'm like, come on, California,
chef.
help me out.
She's trying to
The
prove a
coffee
point.
chef won't let us.
That's
trying.
interesting.
I'm trying to make this case. So I mean, I live in the part, and we moved here on purpose because I thought it would be. We said if we're gonna live in Los Angeles, if we're gonna live anywhere, then let's like be travelers when we're living there, and let's find the things that you can't do anywhere else in the world, and do that. If you're gonna live there, so what do you do in LA? Let's find the place
You get
that
pretentious coffee.
lives up to all the stereotypes. So we went to the hipsterville where like you're supposed to roll up your pants and wear no socks and eat avocado toast.
I did have avocado
And
toast.
fancy coffee, and
It
you
was great.
actually had avocado toast.
I don't think I need to
And-
come to LA anymore. Change of mind, change of plan.
And I was like, no, I mean, like, I know people think it's pretentious, but it's just on the outside, but inside, like, we're still accommodating, and like it's my Midwestern roots coming out, and they didn't live up to the expectations of that coffee shop.
Yeah.
They
So that was
didn't
a
meet my
fun-
but we'll try.
That's a fun
again.
journey.
That was
We're
a fun
gonna
little aside.
Show the Ohioans a good
So,
That's awesome. So I went to Laguna Beach like in February, and I got coffee with a lot of cream,
So
and I was happy. So
I want to bring it back a little bit to.
yes, please do.
That's the last of the helium. I mean, I have a whole tank, but I don't plan on using it.
Okay, so I have to tell you. So this is videotaped at my house, and they come in with a helium tank, and I'm thinking in my head, okay,
we're running out of my helium in my voice.
Go ahead.
No, there, it's gone. It's gone.
I was like, I got strawberries and food and wine and all the good stuff, and you're walking in my house with helium. What is about to go down?
Because it's a party.
Such a party.
Okay, so I want to pause a second because we had our little fun tangents, we're
Yes.
having a really good time
Thank you
tonight.
for letting us have that fun.
We might have lost some people already, but if
We're good. 8 viewers.
But what I want to say is I want to talk a little bit about what it means to be an entrepreneur, because I think I know for myself, I did many entrepreneurial things, and I did not call myself an entrepreneur until I did Kome. Because if I wasn't doing a tech startup, that meant I
It
wasn't
didn't
an
count.
entrepreneur.
And I think that is a concern of a lot of people.
Yeah. I had a bakery in my house that I did. They have really good cake pops. I'm just saying.
Hey, why did those come tonight?
They did. I
where
thought
are
you
those?
brought them.
No.
There were more?
We'll figure that out later. But yes, there's more. We'll
That
find
is like
them.
a stop the show, find the cake pops kind of thing. It's a state of emergency. Code blue.
Producer?
Code blue, producer. Find the
So-
cake pops.
I thought I sent them with you. If not, they're in my trunk. So
Hey, second producer, can you go search somebody's truck?
so I used to have a bakery. I did multiple direct sales companies. I did a lot of things, but I didn't call myself an entrepreneur until Kome, and I think that's a real shame. And I think of you, Danielle, because you don't have a tech startup.
No,
But you've
no
had-
tech. I don't do tech.
You have many more businesses than I've ever had.
Well,
So
and that's
tell us, like, what's your business journey
so
as an entrepreneur?
As an entrepreneur. So I started by trade. I have a degree in business management, and I'm a surgical vet tech. So I worked in the HR world for many, many years. I worked the 70 hours a week, didn't see my family, made great money, but didn't have time to spend it, is how I used to say. So I left that career when I was 28 years old because I realized, why make all this money and not enjoy my family and my life? That is so distracting. It's
I'm
hilarious.
sorry. It's going serious time.
So at that time, I had for 5 years watched dogs in my house. So I had an in-home pet care service, very well known. Didn't need to advertise. I've never done advertise. Actually, that's a lie. 2 months ago, I put Facebook ad up for the first time in 11 years
Cool.
to get advertising. And I loved what I did. I had 4 employees. They worked very hard. I built the business, built the contracts, contact attorneys, all that stuff. But then when you talk to people, they're like, oh, you pet dogs. It's not a business. You pet dogs. Well, that business allowed me to leave. I mean, I took a big leap of faith. And I say faith very strongly because when people say, know your worth, know your value, and leap for your faith, that's what I did. At 27 years old, I looked at my 2 kids that I had missed everything about them, and said, you know what? I'm going to own my own business. I'm going to make this work. And so that is when I jumped into 31, which is a direct sales company.
You became one of the, top, how many people?
So I was 7th in the company for 3 years in a row.
That's insane.
Wow.
During my divorce, I've dropped down quite a bit, but I'm on the up to get back there. But typically when you talk about a direct sales company, this is just my opinion, they say pyramid scheme, not a real business, you don't make any money. I'm going to tell you, I live in a beautiful home in Copley. I travel quite often.
On the same street she grew up in.
On the same street I grew up in, because I don't leave Copley, because my kids will be raised in Copley and graduate Copley. I've done that with that direct sales company, and I get a lot of times that you don't own your business, because when you're working for a direct sales company, they have your app and they do your website and they do all that. I lead a team of 116 girls right now.
Wow.
I lost 40 from October to December, but 116 girls solid I lead. I wake up in the morning, I live and breathe them. And there's a quote, I actually just brought it up the other day. Let me see if I remember it correctly. about an entrepreneur will live life, I think it's 5 years, but let's just be real, 10 years, a life like no one else will live, so that they can live the rest of their life like no one else will get to live.
Yeah.
And owning a business and doing what I do. So I do pet sitting, and I am a 31 consultant. So if you talk to anybody, they think, oh, you have this easy life. You pet dogs and sell bags. I work hard. I do a lot.
You can't be seventh in any company unless there's 7 employees without working hard.
We have 67,000 employees. But what I can say is I work hard, but every second of it is worth it. Every second is worth, waking up this morning, not going to lie. I'm on a deadline. I've set way too high of goals, and I refuse to fail. My alarm went off at 4 a.m., and I went to bed at 1 a.m., and I have succeeded at the goals I set. And that kind of shows you, entrepreneurship, it never stops. Like, there's always another thing going, and it is hard work, and it is a struggle. And some people may not recognize that is a business, or what you're doing is a business, but working for yourself is probably one of the biggest sacrifices you'll do, because it's all on you.
That's a statement.
You fail.
I'm writing that down.
Like, if I take a day off,
See that on social media tomorrow.
Today, for instance, from 9 to noon, if you're on my Facebook, you saw that I played with horses from 9 to noon. It was a business class, and my daughter got to go with me, which is the most amazing thing, that my daughter could go with me to a business training. But we learned about confidence, and I hope Leslie is watching, because Leslie put it on. We learned what she had us do was move the horse and make the horse trot and make the horse do all that with hand movement. So she's a communication specialist. She specializes in verbal, visual, and I'm missing one, vocal, visual, and audio communication. So what her whole point was, I think really goes in with entrepreneurship, is that if you can move a 2,000-pound horse by just an arm race, the confidence to have that horse move, the horse literally follows you every single, your eye movement. If you lower your head, they go off track. If you raise your head high and you look forward, that horse walks proudly next to you. And that's what I feel, that if you have a dream, if you have a passion and you have a plan and you have the confidence to do it, if you can move a 2,000-pound horse, you can do anything. And and I think that is like the whole definition of entrepreneurship. So many people are so afraid to go, I can do this, or I have this idea and I have this plan, but I don't know how it's going to work, and I don't know if I can succeed. Let yourself fail. Some of my greatest failures have turned out to be my best success. And that is, I think, a key thing with owning your own and having the confidence to keep going. And so that is something that I absolutely love about the whole Kome thing. You and Audrey poured your everything in it. And when you thought it was at the lowest, when you thought you failed, you got sent another step and another chance to make it right. And that was a risk. Like, everything's a risk. I wake up every day, and I'm not going to lie, there are days worse than others. What about if I get no sales? What about if a dog runs away? Heaven forbid, 11 years I haven't lost a dog yet. But what if that happens? But don't even say that. But entrepreneur, it's not easy work. It's some of the hardest work you'll do, but it's so rewarding. And that is something that I think is so very important.
And I just love, like, everything you say. I'm like, ditto. And I just think that people forget that goes for anyone that's running any level or kind of business. Like, small business, side hustle, side, like, direct sales, like, all the way up to, like, the full-blown tech startup.
Exactly.
Like, they all have the same struggles. It's all very real.
Yeah, there's always going to be that stress, but you have to think of it this way. I worked really hard to get in that position. I was a director of an HR department and leading a surgical team. My mother's dream. Let's be real.
Mom.
$175,000 worth of education at a private college. Thank you, Mom. I mean, we're still paying for it, but I had the education. I had the dream job. I had a guarantee. Let's put it that way. I had a guaranteed paycheck. And did I walk away from that for something harder? Yes. But the reward of it, that I'm in
What's
power.
the reward? Why?
The reward is I get to personally influence people each and every day. I get to be the reason, for my personal business, and this can be for any entrepreneur. I can't tell you how many clients say, I get to go on vacation because I know my dog's safe. I organize I sell 31 and I really focus on solutions for life. I organize people's pantries. I get them organized and ready and their bathroom situated and their stuff where it's supposed to be and labeled, and I make them feel good because they have a place for everything. And that's just my niche. And so if you are in a startup business or you're in something small to a side hustle to everything, it matters. And what you're doing each and every day matters. And it's going to be just as stressful. I can tell you when I worked in HR, I handled a lot of the medical stuff. Like, it was stressful. It's stressful now, but it's all in me. Like, there's a chance to still fail, always. But the outcome and what you get to pour into your family and what you get to pour into other people is so much worth it.
Yeah.
Definitely.
You can change the world.
Yeah.
Bet you can.
Yeah. And you
sister.
just have to have the confidence, like a horse. I'm telling you, everybody needs to take that cost.
I actually really want to.
Like,
think
I
that'd be
am
really,
signing
really good for
everybody
me.
up. Everybody message me. Leslie's going to have to do her own class.
This is me messaging you. I want to go.
Because it was so
Aaron will come back
powerful.
from LA
But I
just to
will.
come.
It was so powerful. And then at the end, we painted the horses.
Oh,
We
that's
put-
so therapeutic.
Yeah, we
What?
put paint on our
This is
hands
real.
and we put handprints on the horses so that we could connect
Who
emotionally
cleans
to
the
horse.
horses?
I don't know. That wasn't my position.
Is it washable paint?
It is
So
washable.
many questions.
It's washable, non-toxic
groom?
paint. There's washable,
Do the
non-toxic.
horses like it?
Yes, she loved it. But the
Too.
point of the matter is connecting to this. This horse was 200 pounds. And I can tell you a little story that happened today that really taught me a lot. I was lifting the horse's hoof, and I did it right away. Like, everybody struggled a little bit. And I walked over there and did it right away and pulled up that hoof. And I was like, ooh, look at me, I did it. Then she goes, can you do that again? So she could take a picture. First thing out of my mouth was, I don't know if the horse is going to let me do it again. I all of a sudden had a negative feeling. And don't we all, when we own a business or we're running something, go, I don't know if I can do that again. I don't know if that can be as
Every
successful.
day.
Yeah.
That verbally came out of my mouth was, she's probably not going to do this again. And Leslie, because she's the sweetest woman, she goes, that's all in your mind. Don't let your mind take over. Don't let your mind be the source of your defeat. It's what she said.
You're
And
making so many memes right now.
I was like, shh. So I lifted that horse's hoof up and it went up. But it was, I'm telling you, Leslie's amazing. She's a communication specialist, but she really just, that was what it was. Those horses can feel your confidence and those horses can feel it. And we are more powerful than we think we are. We are driven. We can do more. It is all a confidence thing. And sometimes we get in our mind and we beat ourselves up and we push ourselves down, or we fail a little bit. Oh, I didn't receive that pitch, or oh, I didn't get that client, or oh, I didn't return that phone call quick enough. We need to have the confidence to just keep going. And that is so very important.
Yeah.
And I think so much of that goes back to why we do it and what's driving us.
Definitely.
And so my start in entrepreneurship, or what I would consider like an entrepreneurial life, had nothing to do with actually starting. At least it's maybe, I don't know, maybe this is like our first failed business. I don't know. We thought we would be video bloggers.
Well, if so, then you're a second-time entrepreneur, and investors should love
I
that.
should love that, right?
Yeah.
So my husband and I worked together at SpaceX, and we did that for a number of years. And we were there at the time where SpaceX earned its reputation for working its employees really hard, and that's the reason that we were there, because that's how we wanted to work. We wanted to overnight and overnight and overnight again to build things that went to space and change the world. That was really cool. But after a few years, we were ready to celebrate our marriage. Really, I would say again, but really for the first time. We spent the first 8 months apart because we were on opposite coasts getting ready to launch stuff.
Yeah.
And the dream that we had set in motion when we got married and we announced it to our families as part of our registry of surprise, everyone, we want to travel around the world. And I think that I know that he had always wanted to go, but didn't have somebody saying it's okay.
Mm-hmm.
And I had always wanted to go, but didn't have the confidence. So he didn't have the support. I didn't have the confidence. Together, all of those things went away and said, this is what we're going to do. So we're going to leave our jobs. We're going to take a whole year. We're going to put everything in a backpack, everything in my parents' barn that wasn't coming with us, and we were going to go and travel. And it was like the response to that, people were excited, but cautious. So why would you leave what is arguably one of the coolest jobs ever?
You were a rocket scientist.
Which is
We've talked about this. So
actually
she
one of the
legit
coolest jobs
was
ever.
a rocket science.
But like, and a steady paycheck, and like what you dream about getting to do when you go through college. And your parents certainly dream about you being able to do.
I definitely broke some hearts, my mother's.
Right? and to do something where you are going to quit you're going to be jobless and homeless for a year.
Yeah.
And travel into places where you can't speak the language, you've never been there before, you are not a phone call away from your parents. Although when Jose was sick on Kilimanjaro and we were like 15,000 feet in the air 2 days before summit, we did call my mom on my last remaining credits and ask her if we should evac him off and where to go. And we didn't. He was fine. We made it.
Did she just say about Kilimanjaro?
Yeah.
I heard that, right?
Yeah.
I'm making sure. Okay?
Yeah. We made it on Kibati and Snickers bars, and it was great. And that's a longer story, but it was a good time.
Amazing.
Amazing.
But, like, not
so
that risky.
I mean, but that's scary, right? All of that is scary. People are like, you're nuts. And it wasn't even just that, but people would give us this look like, do you think you're better than us? Do you think you're choosing a life that's better than us? You think you're so cool because you quit your job? You know, the rest of us got to work. Yeah. Why are you so special?
Which kind of leads me into my next question.
Yeah,
of,
definitely.
Like, what are the misconceptions of entrepreneurship or risk taking?
Well, and that was
entrepreneurship is risk taking,
and it is risk taking. I mean, when I left my HR job, I was making salary. I had just purchased a home. I had a 2-month-old baby, my second child at home, and I walked in and gave my recognition. And at that time, I was like, my recognition was I want to be a wife and I want to be a mom. I don't know what I'm going to do. And I remember my person sitting down with me going, what's your plan? And I said, I want to be a wife and I want to be a mom. Mm-hmm. Whatever help it happens and however I do that is going to be my goal. Mm-hmm. And so it is a risk. I mean, and there were several people that were like, why are you doing this? Do you realize? I mean, I was the youngest HR director to ever walk in there. Like, so many people were like, why are you making this risk? Why are you taking this? You're guaranteed a salary paycheck. And I went, I want to be a wife and I want to be a mom. And that's what I want. And so I agree. Like, there's so many people that were just like baffled by it. And some didn't even have a response. Some was like negative. Some was positive. They were excited for me, but didn't know how to be excited.
Yeah,
that's important.
And that was, it was something that we had to prove, and to ourselves as well. Right? We went into it with confidence, but it doesn't mean that it wasn't going to be hard. And it's like people think that risk takers are like crazy people, like base jumpers, definitely. Or but they. I think we
are all a little bit crazy.
A little bit crazy, but also like the best researched, the most deliberate, the most planning, paranoid sorts of people, because you have to be, or you would fail, and those failures have massive consequences. So definitely. I mean, we planned for 2 years, almost 3, before we left. It took that long, 3 years of planning to get 1 year of travel out. And it was the budgeting and the saving and the vaccinations and the travel plans and the contacts and the work stays. And that took huge amount of time and planning, and that's something that people don't always get a chance to see. And that's a lot of what entrepreneurship is. It is a risk, but it is a managed risk.
Yes, definitely.
Right? And you set your boundaries and you live within them because you know that it is the way that you can achieve whatever your heart song is for that phase of your life. And at that for that phase for me, it was my marriage, and then when I returned home, it was starting a family and raising my daughter. It sounds like very much the same for you guys.
Definitely.
I know, like, one of the misconceptions I felt that people put on me is this idea that as soon as you're an entrepreneur, that equals being wealthy, being rich.
Oh yeah.
Simply
That's a joke.
Wow.
That's
like,
a joke.
but like simply because the opportunity is there.
Yeah, definitely.
Yeah,
And
that's fair.
I'll never forget, I was in New York City for Project Entrepreneur, talking with Jen Hyman, founder of Rent the Runway, co-founder of Rent the Runway. And she said, she's like, everyone around me knows I'm worth, who knows, X number, millions, billions of dollars, right? She's like, but what they don't understand is at any moment, this could all go to shit. She literally said
Very
that.
blunt.
Said.
Very just there.
And
Yes.
she's like, literally, it could just all fall apart. And that's someone who actually is extremely successful and is getting a wonderful paycheck and does have these gorgeous houses. I'll just never forget that, because especially with growing Kome, like, we have this social presence, which you already complimented, but our social presence was really great.
Yes.
It did its job. It did its job really well. So well that people thought my life was pure glamour.
Now, if we've heard that about other everyone's social media
Yeah.
profiles, haven't we?
Everyone's.
Everyone's.
But I
It's
literally
universal.
had someone say to me, I mean, do you ever have a bad day? And
Oh,
I was
wow.
like, do I have bad days? Yeah, but I'm not putting it on my business profile. Like, not until I
You know
have to
what?
say my company's shutting down.
But maybe we should. And
But-
maybe
and
that's
that's
what
maybe.
authenticity in business
And
is
that
all
is
about.
exactly it. And like I said about, the confidence is, you can have the confidence and you can have the dreams, you can lead that horse, like I said today, but you need to be authentic. And I think that your customers and your teammates and your business partners and everything need that authenticity to know that you're going to fail. You're not going to be able to do everything correctly, and you're not going to you're going to have all these dreams, and you should run for them, and you should do your best to get to them and make a plan and succeed. But you're going to fall short sometimes, and it's okay that you fall short, because it's just a learning step to take the next step. And that's where confidence, unfortunately, I feel, I'm big with 31. We do a lot of Girls on the Run and 31 Gives, which is all about girls' confidence. And I think that a lot of times with entrepreneurs, they get those hits real quick, where they don't get wealthy right away, or they don't have success right away. And they're like, I'm not going to get there. I'm not going to succeed. So I'm going to give up.
Right. And what nobody knows or recognizes, if they do know, there's no such thing as an overnight success.
No.
There's no such thing. Every big startup. Did you know Airbnb was $70,000 in debt? They decided, it was during campaign season for Obama and McCain. They took Cheerios and they made them into Obama-O's. They took
I did not know this.
Captain Crunch and they made it into Captain McCain, and they sold cereal. They reboxed and sold cereal. And it got them on late night shows, and it got them all these crazy things. And now, hello Airbnb. They weren't an overnight success. It's all a lie. Instagram wasn't an overnight success.
Yeah,
Nothing is an overnight success. Mark my words.
Uh-oh. Big trouble. Mark Amy's words.
5
Amy's
to 10
right.
years from now, people are going to be like, have you heard of Wana? Oh my gosh, I just heard of this app, Wana.
Yeah.
And then Wana, aka Erin here, will be like, actually, I started it 7 years ago, and
Yeah.
Amy and Audrey started
She wrote it.
2 years before
wrote it.
that. And it's
So-
actually this 10-year story for this app you
It
just
does.
found out about.
And I think that people, and so you guys see me commenting, so please be commenting. I am like writing back and commenting and messaging people back. But give us your opinions. Like, I feel like,
Ooh, do you have questions?
yeah, please, like,
Questions.
send your questions. I've been commenting to a couple things. But that's so very true. Like, we always hear when the thing it hits and when it becomes popular.
I have another thing about that.
But do we ever look back at the history of how long it
Exactly.
took to build?
I know a lot
to
of you people
establish?
are in Akron. A lot of people watching us are in Akron. And these people, how many of you have heard of Instacart in the last 3 months? It delivers my groceries once a week. I'm not ashamed of it.
I haven't jumped on this wagon, but
I'm really
I get
proud of
very
it.
jealous when Amy gets her groceries delivered when I'm over there hanging out.
One day my groceries were getting delivered at the same time someone was cleaning my house. I was a little embarrassed about that. Not so embarrassed that I wouldn't mention it here on the show. But that happened.
That happened.
So, but the point is, Instacart seems like this
I'm
new
still
phenomenon.
cleaning my own house.
Like
This is
Uber,
the problem.
Uber's not new, Lyft's not new. Instacart feels brand new to Akron. I know you guys watching are probably like, yeah, it's brand new.
Because they're
It's
like,
not. They were founded
Aldi's
in
now, Aldi's now delivers. That's like a new thing.
Pretty
I think
much.
she found that-
they were like founded in 2012.
Yeah.
They're not new. They're not new at all.
But it took that time
it
to
takes
build.
so much time.
And that's kind of like, and I don't want to step too much on our toes into next week, because next week's show I'm really happy and proud and excited about. But you can have a dream, and just because you don't succeed at it right away, just because it doesn't work out, just because your ducks don't line up in order and walk in the straight line, it's going to take time. It's going to take effort, and it's going to take failure.
And what does that all do? Then my next question is for emotional health.
I don't know. You just scribbled all over that paperwork.
I circled the part that was mark my words.
Mark my words. But it does. So she brings up mental health. So I work in a field, and I can say this. I work in direct sales, and I often say direct sales, and this is my opinion. I'm not sure if there's any documentation of this. Direct sales is
Is
the
it
most
your opinion or your
my opinion. Direct sales is the most negative force or negative, drama-filled rejection. God, I can't speak today. Rejection business. I get rejected daily. I get told, no, I don't want to party. No, I don't want to join your team. No, I don't need this. No, I get a lot of no's, and I get a lot of negativity. And, this is just like any business, any entrepreneur. When you fail or you get that no, or you run into that wall, or, maybe it rains too much and your walls cave in when you're building a house. And I'm making that assumption to somebody in the room. There's always going to be negative things that are going to happen. There's always going to be the wall, the running in the wall, the constant running in the wall, and the continuance to just keep going. Looking at those failures as not failures, but stepping stones. Like I always tell my kids, for every 10 no's that I get in business, I build another step because I go to the next level. What more can I chase? And, Instacart's been around since 2012. I just heard of it this year. It's 2019. How many failures did they take?
Where were we?
Who's been delivering my groceries? No.
Nobody. I had to get them myself.
They have been working and striving. And we're talking a lot about entrepreneurship and building your own business, but kind of take this to your own mental health as parents. Let me go there. Like, there are times where I want to beat my head on a wall because I swear I've repeated myself 400 times.
I've been doing that extra lately. I don't know what
Yeah,
it is.
and my
Too
kids
much
are
rock
still
band.
like, oh, I've never heard that before. Carter today was running around in the mud in his socks. If you're going to run around in the mud, take your socks off. Like, how hard is this? Don't run around in your socks. I feel like I'm beating myself, but I feel like I'm being a failed parent. And I use the sock thing. It's just not a great example, but, we feel that in everyday life sometimes where you're not succeeding and you're repeating yourself and you're trying something else and you're moving this and you're failing, but it's just like business. So if you have a dream and you have a hope and you have a plan, you're gonna fail.
The thing with
But you can just
business,
keep going.
the thing with entrepreneurship is it has like this fog effect where you only see what's right in front of you.
Definitely.
You only see, and if we're gonna equate it, like use analogies with parenting, you only see that he ran around in his socks. Why didn't he take his socks off? He should
I'm
have
so
known
mad.
better. Equals terrible parent. You forget his kindness and his gentleness, and you forget those things. And with entrepreneurship, with me, there were times where I didn't see any option for failure because I was in such a high.
Yeah.
I just had the best win of my life, and so how could I possibly fail? And then there's other times where I'm so low that how could there possibly be any good? It was all bad. And that's something in general with me as a personality type, is that I'm kind of like an all good, all bad, all in, all out kind of personality, and it's something I'm working through personally. I don't need your thoughts.
And
But-
here come the thoughts. No,
I
thank
mean,
you. No
unless you're
comments
like
on that.
me too, sister. So I'm working
Don't
on
send
that.
any remarks on that one.
But
Here comes all the comments.
But just this idea that it's this fog, like it's everything or it's nothing, and entrepreneurship heightens all of that. And the highs are so good that it makes you want to go through those really low lows.
But I can tell you the valleys are, so I always call it the peaks and the valleys, right?
Mhm.
Your peaks are so high, your valleys are so low, and it is so hard. So I am coming off of a season where I put basically a stop sign. I was the 7th in a company. Talk about some humbleness. In February, I went to Laguna Beach in California and was honored as the 7th in the company. And at that time, I hadn't done anything for 3 months. I was in like the lowest of the low, going through my divorce and going through all that. I couldn't party. I couldn't join people in my team. I couldn't even get on my laptop sometimes. And then I'm going to this award ceremony in February celebrating this, and just shows like there's gonna be, and it's hard to pick up from those valleys. It's hard to recover from them, but you can recover.
Yeah, which is something we're going to talk more about next week.
Definitely.
So something I want to end on is this idea, and we've already touched on it a bit, but if each of us maybe have like a why we do it. Like we've talked about how it's hard, it's isolating, it's highs and lows in dramatic ways. It's some of the most painful things we go through, but also the best things we go through. So why do we do it? And I've mentioned a bit already tonight, but like I'm just a really faith-led person. It's how I operate, and I literally followed God every step of the way with Kome, every single step of the way. And I said in January that one of those steps included shutting it down.
Yeah.
And if I hadn't shut it down, I would have never met Erin. I never would have had the opportunity for someone that's technically younger than me, but also like emotionally younger.
Technically.
Not even emotionally younger than me, like freshness younger than me, right? A little bit of like, still got the like, we're going to do this, we're going to solve this problem. I met her, she's in LA, we have like, she can extend our network out there, she can extend our user base out there. So many wonderful things. And if I didn't follow God in that step to say, okay, I'm going to let this go, because my pride did not want to let it go.
Yeah, and
it did not want to let it go.
Pride is a huge
my
thing.
pride even like right now does not want to let it go. But it's huge.
It's a huge thing. It's
So,
a huge thing.
my why I do it is I feel called and driven towards it. I can't help it.
Yeah. No, and I can kind of go of that. I can tell you when I walked away from my HR job, like that was a guaranteed paycheck, guaranteed success, using my education. I was going places. I was in a position that most people don't get to. I was 10 years younger than like the ever known. And I did it faith-based as well. Like I wanted so bad to be a wife. I wanted so bad to have more kids. I wanted so bad to raise my children. I remember weeks and weeks of praying about it and thinking about it, and kind of finding and realizing I'm giving up my security. I'm giving up, because at that time the money was the security. I just bought a house. I had 2 kids. Like I needed that paycheck. I gave that all up and kind of was like, I want to help more people directly. I want to help people. And then, joining 31 was more of like, I needed to show people that they could stay home with their kids as well. And, I now get to bless women and help them and use it as a ministry and do fundraisers. And it is a pride thing, though. I have to tell you that. Like, it was hard for me to go, yeah, I just walked away from, a salary position. I just walked away from a guarantee. It was also something I had worked very hard for and succeeded at the title. And, that title and that gold nameplate, because yes, I had a gold nameplate that I still have, that I still hold on to. it was a big deal to me. It was a big deal, but the dreams of seeing that I could make other people's dreams come true, and I could show my daughter what she's capable of doing, and let God lead, that was so much more important. And something I needed to do. And I can tell you that God has showed up and twofold made me twice as better as a mom and twice as more successful. That's been awesome. And if I wouldn't have taken that risk, I wouldn't have known.
So, Erin, why do you take risks? Why are you an entrepreneur? And why do you want to carry Kome on into the Wana brand? Brand and brain. Both. Actually, both. That's a Freudian slip.
That was a lot of questions. That was
Why do you do it all?
Just one question. Why do I take risks is a really different question. But I think that the answer is important because it informs a lot of why I do the things that I do now. When we took our trip around the world, my husband and I, we did that for us. For nobody else. We did it for us. And that was a self-actualization moment. It was, we have decided that this is the right thing for us. It's not the traditional path. It's not anything that we were taught. But this is right. And this celebrates us and who we want to be. But what came out of that was really surprising. We were at a girl's house. She was our Airbnb host. And
because they sold cereal boxes and kept going.
I was just thinking,
that blows my mind.
Is Airbnb sponsoring tonight?
They should be.
So we're at
we need to contact them to sponsor.
We do. We're at our thanks. We're at our Airbnb host, and we're meeting her for the first time, and we're sitting and drinking tea, and we're in a country we've never ever been to before, and we're sharing our story, and she's looking at us going, I don't understand how you could do this. And she had just taken her very first job ever, like right out of school. She's just received her first paycheck that day.
Wow.
And she was so proud of that. But she also revealed that, like, yeah, she got this thing and she was so excited because she had done what was expected of her. But she really had kind of dreamed of some other things. And that's where we left the conversation that night. And like 2 days later, we hear crying from the other room. We wake up and we open our door and it's her. What just happened? She says, I don't know what to do with my life anymore. I feel like I have to make different decisions. And by the time we left that week, she had quit her job. And she, within the next 4 months, moved overseas.
Wow.
For the first time ever, and went and followed the dream that she had wanted to. And because she saw somebody else do it.
Yeah.
And
it's important.
Right? And it's like we did nothing. We did nothing. We just did what we were doing and we showed up. And you think of, like when you think of, I'm going to go out and change the world. I am going to make a difference. You're going to be an astronaut or a firefighter or a Peace Corps worker or a diplomat. Those are noble and incredible professions. But it's who you are as a person and how you live that we learned.
You change someone's life by literally just following your call to travel.
And when you follow your passion, it tells other people that they can follow theirs. And maybe
gives them permission.
It gives them permission. And who knows what their passion. Imagine if every single person had permission to do what it was that they thought could change the world. Everything would be different if we just felt we had permission. And from that realization on, I said, well, then I am not going to ask for permission anymore. There's a life that I want to achieve. I am going to find a way to do it. And I chose entrepreneurship because I wanted to be able to work for myself and be mobile and be at home. I wanted to be where I wanted to be with who I wanted to be with whenever I wanted to be there. And that was my family, and very specifically when I had my daughter. That to me was you have a decisive moment. You spend all this time thinking about, well, when am I going to do it, or should I do it? But if we listen really hard, every one of us has a decisive moment.
Yeah.
That forces
very sure.
the decision. So there's no reason to stress about it. Your decisive moment's going to come.
And you
My
feel it.
decisive
You know
moment
it.
was a baby popping out.
I literally yeah.
And there's the baby.
You do know, though, because I can pinpoint the exact moment when I made that decision that the risk was worth the loss.
Yeah. So don't like, if you're stressing about what you should do right now, or when you should do it, or how you should do it, don't plan. And when the decisive moment comes, you'll be ready.
The
and you will
aha
seize
moment.
that opportunity. And that's it. It's all planning. It's all deliberate. It's not like any of this is happening by chance.
Yeah.
And that's what being a risk taker really means, is managing that risk so that you can handle it and turn it into something successful. And what I have the extreme luxury to do is to be home with my girl. And there's nothing in the whole world more important than that. It doesn't even matter what the company is. That's what is more important to me than anything.
Yeah.
So that becomes the reason that I do it. And then the reason that you continue to do it is because then you can propagate that. And last year, so I'm always the mom that brings my kid to stuff. And so I was like, I want to spend time with my daughter. If I'm going to go out to like a network event, I'm bringing my kid with me. And we would be at some underground bar watching some technical talk, and she would be playing with the foosball table in the back making noise. And I'd be like, yep, that's me. I brought my kid, and you guys should all bring yours too. Because like,
why didn't you?
Right? And people thought I was nuts. But she loved French fries, and it's all good. But what those people also let me do was embrace bringing my child. And then when I asked if I could help to bring more family-friendly activities to that community, they said yes. And one day, the head of economic development walks up to me. So now you're going to know how important this was, Jennifer. She walks up to me and like kind of casually, but she's like, I didn't think of kids being at a thing like this as like anything more than a distraction. And I don't think like that anymore.
Yeah.
She's like, you showed that didn't have to be that way. And now I think that it's a benefit. I think it's better for everyone in our city if your work and your family life can be blended, and we can embrace everyone in your life, not just your professional self. And she's like, what do you think would happen if we like invited kids to all of our events? And I said, I think the
Can't have
moms
an underground
and
bars
dads
anymore.
would cry. And then I did. And I was like, you know what? If nothing else happens from everything that we have done, from all of this work we've put in, but we change the way people think about how they integrate their family with their working life and vice versa, then this will have been completely worth it.
Yeah, for sure.
Whew. That was good stuff. I think on that note, we will wrap it up. But next week's conversation I'm very excited about because tonight we touched on not just, we did obviously touch on the hardships. We touched on the whys. We touched on the, if you believe it, you can achieve it kind of attitude. And I believe that that's very true. But then there's also times where our dreams don't come true.
And whether those are business,
yeah, it could be so many things. Business, relationships, it runs the gamut. Because I feel like today's been a really good day because Juana is taking the torch and leading Kome into the next stage. But most of the time for the last 6 months, I felt like my dream didn't come true.
yeah,
And you know what? My dream didn't come true. Even today,
And
it's not a dream. It's not the plan I had. It's not what I was looking for. But what do we do with that? How do we pull that back and peel back the onion and look at it as more like, what's the root of our dream? What are we really trying to accomplish? It's not necessarily, like, my dream, was it to have a tech startup that got funded through Series D and raised $100 million and sold for $500 billion? Sure. Yeah. That's a great dream.
Well, and I think
Give us a couple years. We'll get there. We'll get there.
That was part of my dream, but really my dream is for people to share babysitting.
And I think that is something that, we can look at it as dreams of children, dreams of relationships, dreams of businesses, dreams of homes. We all dream. And, as women,
dream.
We touched base on this when we talked about our Disney show. About how, let me take it all the way back, about how, and I'm going to say, little girls,
dream is a wish your heart
we
makes.
need to let little girls dream. We need to dream. And so many times our dreams, our expectations, our wants do not come true. Life doesn't happen as we plan. But does that mean that it didn't happen like it should? Mm-hmm. Does it mean that it didn't pan out to be where we needed it most, where, on faith-based, where God needed it to go? My plans, my dreams may not be the all end. And so that's kind of what we're going to touch on, is just, where you are with that, how you take those next steps, how you mend, how you heal, how you still walk through it. And I think that, we have a lot to bring to that conversation.
Yeah, really good. Thanks for joining us.
Thank you.
Most of our glasses are empty.
Not Aaron's new and slacking.
I'm pacing myself.
Cheers. And here's to a sip of solidarity between women, between humans. Yeah. Thank you.
Thank you for joining us tonight. We'll see you next week.